So when we see that trade setting up in that area, we've made 5 ticks, and it didn't go any further, but we still made 5 ticks. That's why when you look at my morning's screenshot performance, this is what the screenshot performance looks like, right? And you can see that obviously our average trade size is about between 2 and 5 contracts. So it's not 30 lots, it's between 2 and 5 contracts. And I'm not trying to manage the positions. I'm just taking the positions in and I'm letting it ride out to an end in terms of getting stopped out or scratched out or whatever. I'm not trying to manage these positions. And yet just taking the trades that we've shown you today, we've bagged another $5,500, right? So we've bagged about $5,500 just on the screenshots, these types of screenshots that we show you here. So when you critique situations, the key to the critiquing phase is that your view of the market as well? Do you agree with it? If you just follow somebody blindly into it, fair enough, you might agree with their system. You might love their system. You might think their system is fantastic, in which case you are going to go along with their system. But if you go along with their system, you've got to accept that this sometimes is reality, right? This here is sometimes the reality of any system. What you've got to understand is this doesn't make you a bad trader. This does not make this guy a bad trader. I'm defending him. I'm not criticizing. I'm defending him. This does not make this guy a bad trader. It just means he's having a down day. And if that's within his realms of percentage returns, there's no problem with that trade. There's no problem. He wouldn't be getting sacked if that was his system. And if his system proved over time that his system was a profitable expectancy, and his normal upside was maybe 100,000, his normal downside was maybe 50,000 or even 100,000, but his winning days versus losing days is maybe 60-40 or 70-30 or 80-20, right? The point I'm trying to make by showing you this is that everybody can have bad days, even a couple of bad days. We saw a bad day yesterday and a bad day today. But you can pretty much guarantee that he's going to keep with his system. He's going to stay in play. He's going to stay playing out the narrative because he obviously believes in it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have run a £30,000 loss. Is it my system? Is it something that I believe in? No. I've looked at the trades. I don't like where they are personally. I don't like where they are. And for that reason, it wouldn't be a system that I would buy into because it's not my style of trading. It's very turtle-esque style of trading. It's very much if the trade makes the break and it stays long, you'll make a lot of money. And there could be potentially $100,000 trades in amongst those kind of trades. Absolutely. But it's not my style of trading. But it might be yours. It might be the type of trading that you look at and say, that works for me. That process works. But as I said, not for me. Not for me. But, I very much prefer to read the market properly, candle by candle, read the delta properly, candle by candle, figure out what the candles are telling me, figure out if the market's too long. And the market's still too long, guys. The number of buyers that showed up on that oil, again, coming off the bounce point was too many. Look, you see it? So if you're looking at that, could you agree with me that whilst I bought it originally against those sellers into that liquidity low, that there was too many buyers came in immediately? And because there's too many buyers, it's got to go back through the bottom edges again and try and sweep out those trades, try and sweep out those trades at the bottom edge. We haven't seen any sell triggers yet coming in from the MXS, so it's still a buy trade at this point. Still a buy trade at this point. So this is what we're trying to get across to you guys, and it's so important as a point of interest, is that your system can throw bad days. It doesn't mean your system's broken. It doesn't mean this guy's system's broken. A lot of people will criticize somebody in that position too quickly because he had a losing day today or a losing day yesterday. But Charlie D had 3 losing days in a row when he came into his webinar. When he did his webinar, he had 3 losing days in a row, didn't he? Would you criticize Charlie D, one of the greatest traders of all time, on the floor? Of course you wouldn't. Did they have losing days? Yes. Did they maybe make some mistakes? Possibly. Maybe made some terrible mistakes during that day. But it happens. The reality of trading is you're going to have a couple of stinkers every now and then, right? You're going to have a couple of bad days. It doesn't ruin everything. It just means you've got to know when you're out of pace, when you're off the pace, when you're making mistakes, when you're making bad decisions. You've got to recognize that that is a thing. It's a reality for trading purposes. When I back a horse because it has value. I don't back a horse because I think it's going to win. I back a horse because it represents value to back that horse. It still might be 10 to 1. I still might only have a 10% chance of making money, but I'm backing the horse, right? I am going to back the horse and I'm going to stick around for that bet and see if it wins. If it wins, I make my monies. I am in a buy trade on oil, by the way, guys. I do have a stop at break even quickly on that trade. So I bought into the rejection of the low price here, and I managed to get some longs into play. So when we got the rejection of the low price coming back in, I was starting to watch this, and then when it rejected a second time, I decided to buy in at about 80. And we managed to get a little bit of a pop on the 80 price level here. You might have noticed that when the price hit 90, we actually got a sell signal generated. Did anybody see it? So when the price hit 90, we got a quick sell signal. So what that did to me was I closed out my position when it hit that. When I saw that sell signal showing up, it flashed up on the screen. You might not have seen it, but it did flash up on the screen. And I used that as my walk away for 10 ticks again on that trade. And again, I'm very, very, very aware of the number of buyers on this at the moment. Very aware of the number of buyers on this. So I am not going to be a buyer anywhere near 90s. Nowhere near 90s. In fact, I don't really want to buy it at higher prices pretty much at all. I'd rather wait till we get lower prices. But if we start seeing a bit of an improvement in value or the deltas, I might be convinced to go back in again and take another splash at this and see what happens. So I hope that makes sense, guys. I'm not showing, because I think it's disrespectful to show, because I don't know his system. I don't know anything about him. I don't know what his trading scenario is. I don't know what his long-term track record is. So I'm not going to disrespect anybody by showing you results that are unqualified by giving you more information. So on that basis, I'm not saying that those are bad results. He's had a bad morning in terms of profit and loss, but if that's his system and he's stuck to it and his system makes money, then that's all good. There's nothing wrong with that. But you've got to recognize that for yourself when you're trading. If you're trading and it's your system, you will be able to recognize that that makes sense. You'll be able to look at it and say, no, I get it. I understand that in its entirety. Everybody can have a bad day. Everybody can have a bad day so long as the bad day is a system bad day, because the system is net good. If you've made mistakes with your own system, then that's a genuine bad day. And obviously we have to just recognize that that can sometimes happen as well.